Welcome to Echoes of Time, where we journey through the minds that shaped our understanding of faith, truth, and the human soul. Tonight we open the pages of a work born from silence and struggle, Fear and Trembling, written in 1843 by Johannes de Silentio, the pen name of Søren Kierkegaard, a book that dares to question what it means to believe, to sacrifice, and to obey in the face of the impossible. If you find meaning in timeless ideas and the voices that echo through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of reflection. Welcome. Imagine being commanded by God to sacrifice your own child. This is the story of Abraham and Isaac, a story that pushes our understanding of faith and morality to its absolute limit. It's the core of Johannes de Silentio's masterpiece, Fear and Trembling, which forces us to confront a terrifying question. What happens when our absolute duty to God directly contradicts our universal ethical duty? The answer lies in what he calls the existential paradox. In this philosophy, the ethical is the universal. It's the public world of moral duty, reason, law, and social norms. The simple ideas that a father must love his son, or murder is wrong. For most of us, our moral task is to live up to this universal standard. But the paradox explodes into view when an individual, commanded by the absolute, that is God, is forced to act in a way that shatters the universal. Abraham's willingness to kill Isaac is the ultimate, horrifying expression of this conflict. Silentio calls this the teleological suspension of the ethical. The ethical is put on hold for a higher, divine purpose. This paradox places Abraham in an impossible position. Judged by ethical standards, he's a murderer. But understood through his absolute relationship with God, he is a believer. The heart of this paradox is the shocking idea that the individual as the particular is higher than the universal. This is the agonizing reality of faith. So how does one navigate this impossible choice? Silentio describes two distinct movements. The first is the movement of infinite resignation. This is something a person can achieve through their own strength. It's the final stage before faith. It's the passionate, painful act of mentally surrendering everything you hold dear in this world. All your hopes, your earthly wishes, even the child you were promised. In this moment, you find a strange peace in the pain, because your eternal love for God has triumphed over your own happiness. Think of a tragic hero who gives up their personal desire to fulfill a greater duty. They accept the loss and find a kind of resolution. This is as far as human reason and willpower can take you. But then comes the second movement, the leap of faith. This is a pure miracle. It's not just a nice feeling or a simple belief. It happens after. You've already given everything up in infinite resignation. But then, by virtue of the absurd, the true believer gets everything back. The knight of faith, as Silentio calls them, still believes, I shall get him back anyway, by virtue of the absurd, by virtue of the fact that with God, all things are possible. The absurd isn't something we can understand. It's the boundary beyond all human comprehension. The leap of faith is to believe you can grasp the finite world again, whole and uncurtailed, precisely because it seems objectively impossible. It's like a dancer who leaps into a perfect fixed posture without a single moment of hesitation. This isn't about hoping for a reward in the afterlife. It's about believing for this life. You don't lose the finite world, you gain it back, every single inch. This entire process tells us something profound. Faith is higher than morality. The existence of an absolute duty to God means that our ethical life is no longer the final word. It's reduced to a position of relativity. For the knight of faith, their love for God might even make them act in ways that seem to contradict what ethics demand. You see, the ethical world is about being understandable. It requires you to explain your actions in a way everyone can accept. But Abraham cannot explain himself. His relationship with God is entirely inward, private, and cannot be communicated. He is bound to silence because no one could possibly understand the paradox he lives in. For Silentio, faith is the most magnificent and terrifying passion. The ethical life is glorious and clear, but only faith allows an individual to stand in a unique, absolute relationship with the absolute. The existential paradox revealed by Johannes de Silentio is that the single individual, in their absolute duty to God, stands above the universal moral law. To make this terrifying move requires the passionate intensity of infinite resignation, followed by the marvelous, frightening leap of faith by virtue of the absurd. This is why Abraham is called the father of faith, not because he figured it out, but because he lived within the terror and the wonder of this very paradox. Thank you so much for watching. If this exploration of faith and paradox resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more deep dives into philosophy. See you next time.